Commander Ju Park felt all eyes on her as she stepped off the transport shuttle. Her boots made a hollow sound against the metal floor of Galactic Military Academy Station Epsilon. The station hung in space like a giant metal ring, its gleaming surface catching the light of 3 distant stars. Park straightened her back and lifted her chin. She was the first human ever admitted to this place, the most elite combat training facility in the galaxy. Back home on Earth, her selection had made headlines. Here, it seemed to barely register as important. A group of alien cadets stood nearby, their bodies strange and diverse. One had blue skin that shimmered like water. Another floated a few inches above the ground, its gas-filled body pulsing gently. They whispered among themselves, pointing at Park when they thought she wasn't looking. "Is that the Deathworlder?" one asked, not bothering to lower its voice. "Yes, from Earth," another replied. "Supposedly they drink poison for fun." "What was it called?" "Coffee." Park smiled tightly. This wasn't unexpected. In galactic terms, Earth was classified as a death world, a planet so hazardous that most alien species found it shocking that anything could evolve there at all. High gravity, oxygen atmosphere, toxic to many species, extreme temperature swings, and an ecosystem filled with predators and competition had shaped humans into something the rest of the galaxy found both fascinating and disturbing. The waiting area was filled with beings from peaceful worlds, planets where cooperation had replaced competition millions of years ago. Many had never seen a fight outside of training simulations. Park, meanwhile, came from a species that had spent its history at war with itself. "Cadet Park." The voice came from behind her, deep and resonant. Park turned to face Academy instructor Tickle. The alien stood nearly 7 feet tall, with 8 limbs arranged around a central torso. Its skin was a deep orange, with patterns that shifted and changed as it moved. 4 eyes, set in a diamond pattern on its face, studied her with open skepticism. "Instructor Tickle," Park said, offering the formal salute she'd been taught during her preparation. Tickle made a sound that might have been a laugh. "You've studied our customs. Commendable, though unnecessary. Here." The instructor handed her a thin, transparent tablet. "Your training schedule. First assessment is tomorrow at dawn station time." Park looked down at the tablet. The schedule was brutal. 16-hour days of continuous physical and mental training, with only brief rest periods. The assessment tomorrow would test baseline abilities in zero-gravity combat, tactical thinking, and stress response. "Is there a problem, Deathworlder?" Tickle asked, noticing her expression. "No problem, Instructor," Park replied. "I'll be ready." "I doubt that," Tickle said bluntly. "But try to keep up. The Galactic Confederation insisted we accept a human this year. Political reasons, I'm told. I don't expect you'll last the week." Park kept her face neutral despite the anger bubbling inside her. This too was expected. Humans were recent additions to the Galactic Confederation, and many older species considered them primitive savages who had stumbled into faster-than-light travel by accident rather than design. "My quarters?" she asked simply. Tickle pointed to a corridor on the left. "Section D, Room 12. The gravity is set to standard 1/3 of Earth normal. I'm told it's more comfortable for most species. If you find it challenging, you may request Earth normal gravity in your personal quarters only." 1/3 gravity is fine," Park said, even though she knew it would make sleep difficult. She wouldn't show weakness on her first day. As she walked away, she heard Tickle speaking to another instructor. "Fascinating creatures, humans. Did you know they evolved as pursuit predators? They actually chase prey until it collapses from exhaustion. Barbaric, but effective, I suppose." Park found her quarters easily enough. The room was small but functional, a sleep platform, storage unit, and sanitation area. A large viewport showed the endless black of space, dotted with stars. Earth was somewhere out there, too far away to see. She placed her small bag of belongings in the storage unit and sat on the edge of the sleep platform. In the lighter gravity, she felt strange, as if her body might float away if she moved too quickly. A soft chime sounded, and the door to her quarters slid open. A small hovering drone entered, projecting a holographic message. "Welcome, new cadets. Please report to the main hall in 1 hour for orientation. Uniforms will be provided upon arrival." As the drone left, Park took a deep breath. This was what she had trained for her entire life. The pressure of representing not just herself, but all of humanity weighed heavily on her shoulders. She stood, adjusting to the light gravity with careful movements. The other species might have evolved in gentler environments, but humans had survived and thrived on a world that tried to kill them every day. That had to count for something. When Park entered the main hall, the room fell silent. Nearly 100 alien cadets turned to look at her, some with curiosity, others with obvious disdain. She was the only human in a sea of alien faces. "Ah, our Deathworlder arrives," Instructor Takel announced from a raised platform. "Now we can begin." Park took a seat in the back row, aware of the empty spaces cadets had left around her. Whether from fear or disgust, she couldn't tell. "Tomorrow's assessment will separate those who belong here from those who do not," Takel continued. "Station Epsilon accepts only the best. Many of you will fail. Some will leave voluntarily when you realize the standard required. Others will be removed forcibly if necessary." Takel's 4 eyes seemed to focus directly on Park as these last words were spoken. "Combat training begins at dawn. Rest well." As the orientation ended, Park stood to leave, only to find her path blocked by 3 cadets. One had silver skin that reflected the room like a mirror. Another had 4 arms and stood on backward-jointed legs. The third appeared almost human except for its completely black eyes. "We've never met a Deathworlder before," the silver one said. "Is it true your planet has animals that can kill with a single bite?" "Several, actually," Park replied. "And you drink poison for pleasure?" asked the 4-armed cadet. "If you mean coffee or alcohol, yes." The black-eyed one leaned closer. "They say humans are violent by nature, that you still fight wars among yourselves." Park met its gaze steadily. "We're working on that." The silver one made a sound like tinkling bells. "You won't last here, Deathworlder. The Academy breaks even the strongest species. What chance does a primitive ape have?" Park smiled, revealing her teeth, an expression she knew many species found threatening. "I guess we'll find out tomorrow." As she walked back to her quarters, Park couldn't help feeling alone in a way she'd never experienced before. But beneath that loneliness was something stronger: determination. She would show them all what humans were capable of. The assessment tomorrow would be just the beginning. The assessment chamber was a perfect sphere, its walls a dull gray metal with handholds scattered randomly across the surface. Park floated in the center alongside 30 other cadets, each tethered to prevent drifting during the briefing. The zero-gravity environment made some of the aliens visibly uncomfortable. Several tentacled species had tied their limbs together to prevent them from floating wildly. Others wore special harnesses to keep their bodies in a fixed position. Instructor Takel floated into the chamber, using small bursts from wrist-mounted thrusters to maneuver with precision. "Today's assessment is simple," Takel announced. "Zero-gravity combat. First, individual performance. Then team exercises. Your goal is to neutralize your opponents without causing permanent harm." Park looked around at the other cadets. Most seemed nervous. Zero-gravity combat was notoriously difficult, requiring perfect control of every movement. Even small actions created equal and opposite reactions that could send you spinning off course. "Begin with basic movement drills," Takel ordered. "Show me you can navigate in 3 dimensions without embarrassing yourselves." At a signal, the tethers released. Immediately, chaos erupted as cadets tried to control their movements. Many spun helplessly after pushing off too hard from a handhold. Others overcorrected, sending themselves tumbling in new directions. A few managed decent straight-line movement, but struggled with stopping or changing direction. Park closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the weightlessness. On Earth, she had trained for this extensively in underwater facilities and drop chambers. But there was something else at play. Her body, evolved to fight Earth's crushing gravity, seemed to understand instinctively how to operate here. She pushed off gently, using her core muscles to prevent rotation. With small, precise movements of her fingers against a handhold, she changed direction smoothly. A slight bend of her knee absorbed momentum as she reached another wall. Soon, she was flowing through the chamber like water, while most others still struggled with basic movement. Interesting, Takel said, watching Park closely. The Deathworlder appears comfortable. The next phase began, one-on-one combat. Park was paired with a cadet from Proxima Centauri, a six-limbed being with remarkable flexibility. The rules were simple. Immobilize your opponent for 3 seconds. As the match began, the Proximan launched itself toward Park with impressive speed. But Park had anticipated this, using the alien's momentum against it. With a gentle touch, she redirected its path, sending it tumbling past her. As it tried to recover, Park positioned herself behind it, using her legs to lock around its midsection while her arms secured its upper limbs. Point to Earth, Takel announced, surprise evident in their voice. Match after match, Park demonstrated skills that shocked the observers. She wasn't the strongest or fastest, but her body seemed perfectly adapted to zero-gravity combat. Her spatial awareness let her track opponents from all angles. Her muscle control allowed for tiny adjustments that kept her stable while others flailed. The team exercises revealed even more surprising abilities. Park was assigned to a squad with 4 aliens from different worlds. They were given a simple objective: capture a flag from an opposing team while defending their own. Any suggestions? Asked Vox, a gas-filled being who had trouble moving precisely in Zerog. The others looked blankly at each other. Their species came from peaceful worlds where combat was theoretical, not practical. We need to think differently, Park said. Not just about how to move, but how to use the environment. She pointed to various features of the combat arena. Air vents that created gentle currents, lighting fixtures that cast shadows, panels that could be removed to create hiding spots. On Earth, we have a saying, "Work smarter, not harder," she explained. Let's use the air currents to move our lighter team members quickly. The shadows can hide our positions. And these panels, she grinned, demonstrating how one could be loosened and used as both shield and distraction. The other team had strength in numbers, but Park's squad used tactics they'd never encountered. They set traps using the environment, created diversions, and used the air currents to launch surprise attacks from unexpected angles. When Park captured the enemy flag by using a removed panel as a sail to catch an air current, even Instructor Takel seemed impressed. By day's end, the assessment results were clear. Park had scored in the top percentile across all categories. She sat alone in the mess hall, eating her specially prepared Earth-compatible food, when a display near her table lit up with the rankings. Her name sat at the top, with a score nearly 20 points higher than the next cadet. The mess hall fell silent as everyone stared at the board, then at Park. "Impossible," someone muttered. "Must be a mistake," another added. Park continued eating, pretending not to notice. But inside, she felt a small surge of pride. She had proven something today, not just about herself, but about humanity. Later that evening, as she was preparing for sleep, her door chimed. It was Instructor Takel. "The Arcturian delegation has filed a formal complaint," Takel said without preamble. "They demand your disqualification from the Academy." "On what grounds?" Park asked, trying to keep her voice calm. "They claim humans possess unfair evolutionary advantages that make the competition unbalanced." Takel's expression was unreadable. "They argue that a species evolved on a high-gravity death world with constant predatory threats has developed physical and mental capabilities that give you an unethical edge." Park felt her face grow hot with anger. "That's ridiculous. Every species has evolutionary advantages. The Arcturians can see in 4 light spectrums we can't even perceive. I am aware, Takel replied. Their complaint has been denied. But I came to warn you. You've made powerful enemies today. The Arcturians head the Military Council's training division. They won't forget this embarrassment. After Takel left, Park sat on the edge of her bed, staring out the viewport at the stars. She had expected challenges at the Academy, but political ones, not just physical. The other species saw humans as dangerous primitives from a savage world. Today had only confirmed their fears. A message appeared on her room's display. Impressive performance, Deathworlder. But remember, out here, not all battles are fought with physical strength. Some are fought with influence and fear. The Arcturians have begun their campaign against you. Be ready. The message was unsigned, but Park understood its meaning clearly. She had succeeded today, but the real test was just beginning. Her enemies wouldn't attack directly next time. They would be smarter, more subtle. Park smiled grimly. If they wanted to see what a human from a death world could do under pressure, they would soon find out. Earth's history wasn't just about physical survival against harsh conditions. It was about outthinking predators, adapting to changing threats, and never giving up. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. She would be ready. The weeks following Park's success in zero-gravity combat were filled with increasingly difficult challenges. Each morning she woke to find new obstacles placed in her path. Her training schedule changed without notice. Equipment malfunctioned during her practice sessions. Food that should have been compatible with human biology sometimes left her sick for hours. Park knew who was behind it all. The Arcturians. Tall, crystalline beings with translucent bodies that glittered like diamond, watched her with cold eyes whenever she entered her room. They never spoke to her directly, but their influence was everywhere. "Your breathing mask has been calibrated incorrectly again," said a soft voice as Park prepared for underwater combat training. Park turned to see a slender being with pale green skin that seemed to pulse with inner light. Tiny leaf-like structures grew from their arms and shoulders. "I'm Lumi," the being said, adjusting Park's mask settings. "From Kepler 22 bits, a photosynthetic world." "Thank you," Park said, testing the mask. "How did you know it was wrong?" "I've been watching the Arcturians," Lumi replied. "They tamper with your equipment when they think no one is looking. It's fascinating, actually. On my world, such behavior would be unthinkable." "Why help me?" Park asked. Lumi's skin brightened slightly, their version of a smile. "I'm studying evolutionary biology. Humans are the first Deathworld species I've ever met. Your adaptability is remarkable. The Arcturians fear you. I want to understand you." That day during underwater combat, Park noticed Lumi watching her intently. While other species struggled with the pressure and disorientation, Park moved with confidence. Earth's oceans had prepared her well for this environment. After training, Lumi approached again. "You use the water's resistance to increase your striking power. None of the others do that. They fight against the water, not with it. On Earth, we learn to adapt to our environment, not fight it," Park explained. "When you grow up on a world that's constantly trying to kill you, you either adapt or die." Lumi's interest seemed genuine, and over the next few days, a cautious friendship formed. They began eating meals together, sharing stories of their homeworlds. Park described Earth's varied ecosystems: deserts, mountains, oceans, jungles, each with their own dangers and beauties. Lumi spoke of Kepler 22 bits, where plant-like species lived in perfect harmony, drawing energy from their sun without competition or conflict. "Your world sounds peaceful," Park said. "Too peaceful, perhaps," Lumi replied. "We never developed the survival instincts that drive your species. That's why most of us fail at combat training." As training intensified, so did the Arcturians' efforts to undermine Park. During a simulated space station defense, her weapon power mysteriously drained to half capacity. In tactical exercises, her communications would cut out at critical moments. Once, during a high-altitude drop training, her parachute deployed late, nearly causing a serious injury. Each time, Park adapted. When her weapon failed, she used hand-to-hand combat techniques. When communications went down, she developed a system of hand signals her team could follow. When her parachute malfunctioned, she adjusted her body position to slow her fall rate. Lumi wasn't the only one who noticed. 2 other cadets began spending time with them. Moro, a liquid-based being who could reshape their body at will, and Dax, a small but incredibly strong insectoid with 4 arms and compound eyes. The human adapts quickly, Dax commented during a rare moment of downtime. It's impressive. Most species would have given up by now, Moro added, their surface rippling with approval. The Academy buzzed with news of the approaching grand simulation, a brutal 3-day survival challenge on an artificial planetoid. It was the most important test of the training cycle, designed to push cadets to their absolute limits. Teams of 4, Instructor Takal announced. You will be dropped onto planetoid Sigma with minimal equipment. Your task is to locate the command center, secure it, and hold it against opposing forces for 24 hours. The planetoid was notorious for its harsh conditions, toxic atmosphere zones, extreme temperature fluctuations, acid rain, and even programmed predatory drones that hunted cadets through the terrain. The Arcturians have something planned for you, Lumi whispered to Park after the briefing. I overheard them talking. They've hacked the simulation parameters. Park frowned. What are they planning? I'm not sure of the details, Lumi said, but they mentioned radiation zones and equipment failures. Later that evening, as Park reviewed terrain maps of the planetoid, there was a soft knock at her door. Lumi stood there with Moro and Dax. We want to form a team with you for the grand simulation, Lumi said. Park looked at them in surprise. Teaming with a human was risky. It could make them targets of the Arcturians too. Why would you want to team with me? She asked. Moro's liquid body formed a rough approximation of a shrug. The Arcturians have dominated the Academy for too long. Their arrogance affects us all. And Dax added, mandibles clicking, you have proven yourself a worthy ally. Your methods are unconventional, but effective. We've been watching how you adapt to each challenge, Lumi explained, how you turn disadvantages into advantages. My people believe in learning from all forms of life. Perhaps, Lumi's skin pulsed with a soft glow. We've been underestimating what evolution on a death world truly means. Park studied the 3 aliens before her. Each came from a peaceful world where cooperation was the norm, not competition. Yet here they were, choosing to ally with a human, a species many still considered dangerous and unpredictable. The Arcturians won't just try to fail me, Park warned. They'll target anyone associated with me. We understand the risk, Moro said, their surface rippling with determination. Then we have a team, Park agreed, feeling for the first time since arriving at the Academy that she wasn't completely alone. That night, as the others left, Lumi lingered. There's something else you should know, the photosynthetic being said quietly. The Arcturians fear humans for a reason. Their history mentions a conflict with another Deathworld species long ago. It ended badly for them. Is that why they're so determined to see me fail? Park asked. Yes, they believe if humans succeed here, more will come. And that terrifies them. Lumi's leaves rustled slightly, but I believe your presence could change the Academy for the better. Evolution isn't just about competition. It's about finding new ways to survive together. As Lumi left, Park turned back to the planetoid maps with renewed determination. The grand simulation was just 3 days away. The Arcturians might have their plans, but they didn't understand what they were truly facing. A human who had grown up on a world where adapting to survive wasn't just a skill, it was a way of life. And now, she had allies who were beginning to see the value in that perspective. The drop pods screamed through the artificial atmosphere of planetoid Sigma, scorching the air around them. Inside one of the pods, Park checked her team's minimal equipment one last time. 1 water purifier, a basic medical kit, a single stunner with limited charges, and 4 emergency breathing masks that would provide only 6 hours of air each. "Remember," she told Lumi, Moro, and Dax, "we stick together no matter what. The Arcturians will try to separate us." The pod slammed into the rocky surface with bone-jarring force. The door blew open, and immediately they were hit by the harsh reality of planetoid Sigma, air that stung their lungs, gravity that fluctuated unpredictably, and a landscape of jagged rocks and deep crevices under a sickly green sky. "Command Center is approximately 20 kilometers north," Dax said, compound eyes scanning a small mapping device. 15 other teams are converging on it from different drop points. They had barely taken 10 steps when the first challenge appeared. A warning beep from their atmospheric sensors. "Acid rain approaching," Moro warned, their liquid body already contracting defensively. Park looked around quickly, spotting a rock overhang nearby. "There. Move." They reached shelter just as the first drops fell, sizzling where they hit the ground. One drop caught Lumi's arm, causing a small burn that made the photosynthetic being wince in pain. "Let me see," Park said, examining the injury. She took a small container of earth soil from her pocket, her one personal item she'd been allowed to bring. "What is that?" Lumi asked. "Soil from the Amazon rainforest. Contains natural healing compounds." Park mixed it with water from their purifier to create a paste, which she applied to Lumi's burn. "It'll help neutralize the acid and speed healing." Lumi's skin pulsed with surprise. "You brought soil as your personal item." Park smiled. "On Earth, we learn to use what nature provides." As the acid rain continued, Park studied their map. The direct route to the command center crosses exposed terrain. "Every team will take that path. What do you suggest?" Dax asked. Park pointed to a series of deep ravines. "This way is longer but provides cover. Plus, the ravines might have resources we can use." Her instinct proved correct. In the ravines, they found mineral deposits and strange plants that Lumi identified as having medicinal properties. Park collected everything potentially useful, drawing confused looks from her teammates. "Why take all this?" Moro asked as Park stuffed strange crystal formations into her pack. "Rule 1 of survival on Earth. Everything has a purpose," she replied. They made good progress until midday, when a loud whirring sound filled the air. 3 predatory drones appeared overhead, metal constructs designed to test the cadets' combat abilities. "Down," Park shouted as the drones fired stun beams that would incapacitate anyone they hit. Most teams would have used their stunner to fight back, depleting its limited charge. Instead, Park grabbed a handful of the reflective crystals she'd collected and scattered them across the ground. "When I say now, everyone close your eyes," she ordered. Then she used their stunner to hit not the drones, but the crystals on the ground. "Now." The team closed their eyes just as the beam struck the crystals, creating a blinding flash of refracted light that overloaded the drone's optical sensors. The machines crashed to the ground, temporarily disabled. "How did you know that would work?" Dax asked, mandibles clicking in amazement. "I didn't," Park admitted. "But on Earth, improvisation keeps you alive." As night fell, bringing freezing temperatures, they sheltered in a small cave. Park showed them how to create an insulated sleeping area using layers of the fibrous plants they'd gathered. While the others rested, she fashioned crude tools from drone parts and sharp rocks. "We're making good progress," Lumi said, skin glowing softly in the darkness. "Perhaps the Arcturians trap want." An alarm from their atmospheric sensor cut Lumi off. The reading caused all 4 of them to freeze. "Radiation," Moro whispered. "Extreme levels, just ahead." It wasn't on the map. Park checked their position. They were close to the command center, but between them and their goal was now a zone of deadly radiation that would kill unprotected beings within hours. "This is it," Dax said. "The Arcturians' trap. All other routes would take too long now." Park sat quietly, thinking. Then she began emptying her pack, sorting the items she'd collected throughout the day. "What are you doing?" Lumi asked. "Solving a problem," Park replied. She held up the remains of their broken drone. The outer shell of these drones is designed to resist radiation. Working quickly, Park broke the drone shell into pieces, creating 4 crude chest plates. She mixed the mineral deposits they'd found with water to create a paste, which she spread on the inside of each plate. "The minerals contain lead compounds," she explained. "Not perfect, but it will block some radiation. The chest plates protect vital organs." She then fashioned head coverings from the fibrous plants, soaking them in the same mineral paste. "This won't block all radiation," she warned, "but it might buy us enough time to cross the zone." Dax looked doubtful. "No other team would attempt this. They'll all turn back." "Exactly," Park said with a grim smile. "Which means we'll have the radiation zone to ourselves. The perfect cover to approach the command center." At dawn, they entered the radiation zone, moving as quickly as their makeshift protection allowed. Their sensors screamed warnings, but Park kept them moving forward, navigating by the stars since their electronic equipment failed in the high radiation. "How are you not afraid?" Morrow asked, their liquid form trembling slightly inside the protective covering. "I am afraid," Park admitted. "But on Earth, we learned to function despite fear." Halfway through the zone, Park made another discovery. The radiation was interfering with the planetoid security systems, creating a blind spot in the defense grid surrounding the command center. "We can approach undetected," she realized, while every other team is forced to engage the center's defenses head-on. By the time they reached the command center, only 2 other teams had arrived, both engaged in direct confrontation with the center's automated defense systems. Using the blind spot Park had identified, her team slipped past the fighting and entered through a maintenance hatch. Once inside, they secured the control room with minimal resistance. When the defending forces realized what had happened, it was too late. Park's team had already activated the lockdown protocols. For the next 24 hours, they defended against multiple assault attempts. Park's creative use of the command center systems, rerouting power to create electrified barricades, using communication frequencies to confuse attacking teams' coordination, kept them in control until the simulation ended. When the final signal sounded, ending the grand simulation, Instructor Takel and the Academy leadership entered the command center to find Park's team still in perfect control of the facility. "Impossible," one of the Arcturian instructors whispered. The radiation zone was supposed to be impenetrable. Takel approached Park, 4 eyes studying her with new respect. "You crossed a radiation zone that would have killed most species, using nothing but scavenged materials." Park nodded, exhausted but proud. Adaptation. The first lesson of Earth. As medical teams treated them for mild radiation exposure, the Academy's leadership huddled in discussion, occasionally glancing at Park with expressions ranging from fear to admiration. "I believe," Lumi said quietly to Park, "they are finally beginning to understand what evolution on a death world truly means." That night, as Park rested in the medical bay, Instructor Takel visited again. "The Academy has never seen performance like yours," Takel said. "The Arcturians demanded your disqualification again. They were overruled." Takel paused. "The Galactic Military Council is now requesting a full report on human capabilities." Park closed her eyes, too tired to respond. What the Arcturians and others failed to understand was that her success wasn't just about physical abilities or intelligence. It was about a perspective shaped by Earth itself, a world where survival required creativity, cooperation, and the courage to face impossible odds. The simulation had proven something not just about Park, but about human potential. And the galaxy was finally taking notice. The Grand Hall of Galactic Military Academy Station Epsilon gleamed under ceremonial lights. Hundreds of graduates filled the rows of seats, their diverse bodies representing worlds across the galaxy. At the front, a special section held the highest-ranking cadets, among them Ju Park, the first human to ever attend the academy. Park sat straight in her uniform, which had been specially made to accommodate human biology. The past year had transformed her. She was stronger, faster, more confident. But more importantly, she had proven that humans belonged among the stars. Floating screens around the hall showed faces of diplomatic representatives watching via quantum transmission. Earth's ambassador, a tall woman with gray hair, nodded encouragingly when the camera focused on her. Behind the ambassador stood military officials from various nations, all watching with intense interest. Instructor Takel moved to the center of the stage, 8 limbs arranged in the formal presentation stance. Today marks the end of this training cycle. Takel began, voice carrying through the hall. But it also marks the beginning of something new for our Galactic Confederation. The room grew quiet. Everyone knew this ceremony would be different. The events of the grand simulation had sent shockwaves through the Academy and beyond. For thousands of years, we have trained warriors according to traditions established by species from peaceful worlds. We believed that beings evolved in harmony would make the best protectors, thoughtful, balanced, cooperative. Takel paused. We were wrong. A murmur ran through the audience. The Arcturian representatives shifted uncomfortably in their crystalline forms. The entry of Earth into our Confederation brought questions we were not prepared to answer. What happens when a species evolves not in peace, but in constant struggle? What skills might they develop that we never needed? What perspectives might they offer that we never considered? Takel's 4 eyes turned to Park. Cadet Park has shown us that Deathworld evolution creates warriors with capabilities we barely comprehend. Not because of superior strength or intelligence, but because of something more fundamental, the ability to adapt, to improvise, to confront the impossible, and find a way through. Park felt the eyes of the entire hall upon her. A year ago, those stares had been filled with curiosity and dismissal. Now they held respect, and in some cases, fear. The highest honor of the Academy goes to the cadet who best exemplifies the qualities of a galactic defender, Takel continued. For the first time in our history, this honor goes unanimously to a first-year cadet. Takel gestured, and Park rose to approach the stage. As she walked forward, she spotted Lumi, Morrow, and Dax in the audience, their faces showing undisguised pride. Ju Park of Earth, Takel announced, placing a medallion around her neck. You have changed this academy forever. The applause was scattered at first, then grew. Species that had never seen a human before today watched as Park accepted the honor with a simple bow. Thank you, instructor, she said. This honor belongs not just to me, but to Earth, and to those who helped me survive this year. She looked directly at her teammates. As Park returned to her seat, the head of the Galactic Military Council appeared on the largest screen. The ancient being, with skin like parchment and eyes that had seen centuries of galactic history, addressed the gathering. Today, the Council announces a new initiative. The being's voice resonated. Integration of Deathworlder tactical perspectives into our core curriculum. Beginning next cycle, all cadets will study Earth military history alongside traditional galactic strategies. The Arcturian delegation rose in protest, their crystalline bodies flashing with angry light. This is madness, their leader shouted. Deathworlders are unpredictable, dangerous. They will destroy everything we've built. The council head remained calm. Change is always frightening, but adaptation is necessary for survival, a lesson humans have taught us well. After the ceremony, Park stood by a viewport, watching stars that no longer seemed so foreign. Earth was out there somewhere, a small blue planet that the galaxy had underestimated. Commander Park, a voice called. She turned to see Instructor Takel approaching. Commander, Park asked. Your new rank, Takel explained. The Council has assigned you as an official Academy instructor. You will return to Earth to help select and prepare the next human cadets. Park felt a surge of pride mixed with surprise. I'm honored, but not everyone supports this decision, Takel said quietly. The Arcturians and others fear human influence. They believe your kind will bring war to peaceful worlds. They're wrong, Park said firmly. Earth's history is violent, yes, but we've learned from it. We don't want to spread conflict. We want to prevent it. Takel's expression was unreadable. Perhaps, but remember this. Power shifts quickly in the galaxy. Make sure humanity is ready. As Takel left, Lumi approached, skin glowing brightly with excitement. I have news, the photosynthetic being said. 17 more humans have been accepted for next year's training. Park's eyes widened. 17. Last I heard, the council was only considering 3. The grand simulation changed everything. Lumi explained. Every military branch in the Confederation is requesting human advisors. They're terrified of you. Lumi admitted, leaves rustling softly. Not because you're dangerous, but because you've made them question everything they believed about evolutionary superiority. Lumi hesitated and added, I've requested assignment to Earth as a cultural liaison. The council approved it this morning. You're coming to Earth? Park asked, surprised. Someone needs to prepare your world for what's coming. Lumi said seriously. The galaxy is changing, Park. The peaceful species are arming themselves. The Arcturians are forming new alliances. Everyone is positioning for a future where humans have influence. Park turned back to the viewport, watching the endless stars. She thought of Earth, its oceans and mountains, deserts and forests. A beautiful world that had shaped humanity through hardship. A death world that had given its children the strength to reach the stars. Will you help me? Lumi asked. Help me understand your world. Help me prepare our peoples for what comes next. Park smiled. The Academy had been just the beginning. Humanity's true test, helping build a galaxy where Deathworlders and peaceful species could thrive together, was only just beginning. Yes, she said simply. That's what humans do best, adapt and build a better future. As they stood together watching the stars, Park felt the weight of the medallion against her chest. One human had opened the door. Now others would follow. Whether the galaxy was ready or not, humanity had proven its place among the stars. And this was just the beginning. The end.